pre-configured setup. You're a busy person, we get that, and that's why your system comes pre-configured straight out of the box. All you need to do is run through the setup wizard, grab our apps, and log in. How we set it up. We did a lot behind the scenes to set up your system. Here's how it's configured by default. When someone calls your business number, we have it set up to ring everyone in the company day or night. If they don't answer after 30 seconds, the call will go to a general voicemail that everyone has access to. Each of your users will get their own number. This is known as a direct dial-in, and anyone can call that number to reach them. When they call out though, they will show your business number and the caller ID is set to your business name. System configuration. Now, we understand this setup doesn't work for everyone, so we provided an easy way to configure your system through a setup wizard. Setup wizard. The setup wizard is broken down into 3 easy steps: configuring your users, set your business hours, and review incoming call flow. And let's start by setting up your team. Review your team. The most important aspect of your phone system is the people answering them. Let's take a minute to make sure they are configured properly. Click Let's Get Started to begin. This list shows all the users that you set up during the initial sign-up process. Hit the pencil next to any of them that you need to edit. You can change their first name, last name, and email here. Once you're done, click Finish to continue. Click Confirm to finalize the list. Business hours. Business hours helps us define when you get calls. Click Let's Get Started. To begin, we have to define what kind of schedule you want to use. 24/7 is useful if you want the caller to have the same experience, whether it's 8 AM or 8 PM. If you close or want something different to happen after a certain time, you can select operating at a specific schedule. Click Continue if you selected specific schedule, or Finish if you choose 24/7. If you chose the specific schedule, you can now define the hours you would like to be open. For example, if I wanted to be open on Saturday, I can select Closed and change it to 8 AM. Don't forget to set what time you close as well. It's also important to set your time zone, as this determines how your schedule is interpreted. Click Finish when you're happy with the schedule. Verify your settings. Just make sure this screen looks good to you, then click Confirm. Next, let's take a look at configuring your call flow. Call flow. Your call flow determines what your customer experiences when they call into your system during business hours. We'll click Let's Get Started to jump right in. Call flow offers a lot of options in design, but the welcome message is the most important, as it's the first thing a customer hears. We have 3 options. If you want a more personal, direct way, choose No, and the system will send the caller somewhere that we will define later. This is the default because it is the simplest option. You can also select one of 2 types of messages for the customer to hear. When figuring out what you'd like the system to say, it's always a good rule of thumb to introduce your company, then provide them with options, like press 1 for Kathy, press 2 for Joe. It's important that you figure out what you want to happen before choosing your message type. If you want to type your message out and have our system read it out aloud, choose I'll type one in. Type in whatever you want the system to say, then click Continue. If you would rather record your own greeting, you can choose the third option, then click Continue. On this page, you can either choose Call Me to have the system dial you at whatever number you want. Make sure to follow the audio prompts and you will have yourself an audio file. Alternatively, you can click Upload if you have a file on your desktop that you would like to use. Click Continue to move on. Now that we have a welcome message defined, we can set up what happens. Just hit Continue to get started. For call handling, we have several different options, and depending on your business needs, you may want to use one or the other. Let's review what each of them do. Ring Your Team is the most basic option. It allows you to ring everyone or specific members of your system when a customer calls in. Next is the Teams voicemail. This allows you to send a call to voicemail directly when someone calls in. Usually not a good choice for most businesses. Next is the automated menu. This allows you to define key options for your customer to press to transfer to individual members of your team, a popular method for businesses with one-to-one client relations. Finally, we have redirect the call to a specific person. This allows you to transfer the call to someone like the receptionist or the business owner. Now we will go over how to set up each one. Let's take a look at Ring Your Team first. The first thing to define is how we want to distribute calls. Simultaneous rings everyone on your team, sequentially goes in a specific order, and round robin will distribute calls evenly. You can add additional members to be rung using the drop-down. Reorder when they are rung here, enable or disable a user from receiving voicemail messages from the group, or remove the user from the group entirely. You can also define how long the system will ring each user, and if you're using sequential or round robin, define how many times it will ring each member before giving up. Call forwarding. You'll be able to define what happens if everyone is busy on other calls or logged out of the app. Either go to voicemail or forward somewhere else from the drop-down menu. This rule will define what happens if no one answers in the allotted time. Click Finish and Publish Setting. Going to Teams voicemail. Just like earlier, we can define who will get the message and who's in the ring group. An automated menu is used to present options. If your message said press 1 for this, you will want to choose this option. Setting up the menu options is easy. Next to the dial option, just change not defined to one of the options. Transfer will allow you to send the call to a user or external phone number. Just select the destination on the right as one of your users or type in a number. Repeat these steps for each dial option that you would like to use and hit continue when you're ready to move on. Next, we will set what happens if a customer doesn't do anything or presses an invalid key. The first box determines how long we wait until taking the next action. The second box determines how many times the system will then repeat the menu. Then, after all that, the third box determines what happens if the customer still does nothing. You can either have it hang up or select the Redirect Call To option, then choose the destination you would like. You can also use the Test Menu button to see if everything is set up properly. If you need to change anything, you can click the back button to review your steps. If you're all set, click Finish to review your changes. If everything looks good, click Publish Settings. The final option is to redirect the call. Let's select it and take a look at the options. From the drop-down, select the user or type in the phone number that you would like the system to transfer the call to. Once you select your destination, select Finish. Review the changes and click Publish Settings. Congrats! Your setup is complete. Click Move to Dashboard to see the homepage. Homepage. This is your homepage. You can either restart the tutorial by clicking Open Review Process or click any of the settings to modify the settings individually. If you set up your schedule with closed hours, you can also begin the setup process for the closed hours menu. The process is the exact same as you did for the standard call flow menu. Endpoints. As an admin, you already set up your username and password, so you're good to go. But each of your users will need to set up a password. If you created additional users in the setup process, they should have an email entitled Welcome to 8x8. You've been assigned a new 8x8 extension, which will have their username and a link to set up their password. Make sure they click this as soon as possible, as it expires after 72 hours. If they can't find the email, just click on Users and Phones. From here, you can click the 3 dots on the right, then select Reset Password. This will send them a new email that they can use to set up their password. This email will also include their username. The next step is to download the 8x8 Work applications. You can install it on your phone, desktop, or both. To install it on your phone, just go to the Google Play Store or Apple App Store and search for 8x8 Work. Just click to install and run the app. Once started, just enter your username and password you set up earlier, and you're in. Downloading the desktop application is just as easy. Go to your welcome email and click the link to download the desktop application. You can also find it on our support site. You can learn more about using our desktop and mobile applications by going to the 8x8 University. If you purchased physical phones, you can activate them on the Users and Phone page. Just click the 3 dots on the right side of the user and click Edit and under Desk Phone, select the device model you would like to use, then locate the MAC address of your device. Most manufacturers have this located on the back of your device and has both letters and numbers. Just type that into the box, then click Save at the bottom of the page. That's it. Plug in your phone to power and Ethernet and you're good to go. If you're using physical phones, we highly recommend that you configure your router for the best call quality with 8x8. You can find a guide on what needs to be configured here.